Good morning.
Good morning, listeners and viewers. It's always interesting to hear your voice, isn't it, Jeff, when the repeat comes on.
It's not nice, is it?
I love it. I love hearing your voice. Anyway, you're listening to Amar and
Jaff.
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
And each week we try and bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider community.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops. Whether you look to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can't help. Gosh, Jaff, here we are again. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's December, and
Sixth.
yeah, time's flying.
It's yeah. Does it feel festive yet?
Yeah, I think it does, Amal. It does definitely because um, in the city centre, you got the Christmas markets, you got the trees that are up, you got the songs and all of that stuff. Even the builders, got the Christmas carols on the radio and stuff like that. But I
Is it?
guess I'm on one thing I was thinking of just earlier on, actually. Everything is all about um, Santa, and everything's all about uh, the songs, the music. But there's nothing about um, Christ Mass. All of
Mhm.
that stuff has just gone out the window. You can't even get a Christmas card these days with Jesus on it. Like we used to get at school. All of the
Really? Can
cards.
you not?
Well, I've not seen one. Have you seen one?
Well, I haven't seen a Christmas card. No one sends me that. It's, mm, mm.
So yeah, it's all changing a lot, and I'm not sure if it's if the soul of what Christmas should be all about is starting to change, and I feel quite sad about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. I agree. Um, it's incredibly sad the level of whatever, however you want to describe it. I suppose people call it wokeness, people call it a variety of things. But I was sharing because I complain about Christmas regularly, much to the disappointment, and I'm saying that very diplomatically, of my wife and kids and everybody else who loves Christmas. I don't really, I'm not a big fan of Christmas. And the reason why I am not a big fan of Christmas is because for me, Christmas was carol singing, Christmas was hymns, Christmas was, people coming together. And, it's like, I love all of that. And now Christmas is, almost Christ Mass, as you say, cancelled.
Mm.
And it's more about commercial, let's make everyone, people don't even use Christmas. It's like happy holidays. Happy holidays. I have them in
Well, I
summer.
think I think they want to try and get probably. I was thinking that they might want to even call it something else eventually,
Mm.
and wipe out Christ Mass, the origins of it. I don't know whether they'll do that or not, but that's the kind of route it seems to be all going. It's so commercialized, and it's all about just everyone getting into a bit more debt because you're obliged to buy gifts and A, B, C, and D, and
That's I, I really am. I mean, and then there's silly things, really silly things. Um, uh, Very silly things are like elf on a shelf. Jeff, why are you laughing?
Elf or a shelf.
No, no, elf
Hmm.
on a shelf.
Okay.
So some person, some anyway, whatever person came up with this concept of an elf, a little red elf, and you get a book with it and things like that. And this elf I'm hoping there's no kids listening to our radio show. Anyway, right. So there's this just like it's like a Muppet, is what it is. Yeah, I wish it was on the Muppet Show rather than an elf on a shelf. And basically the concept is the elf appears on the 1st of December, and every single night it moves around the house and it does things, and it's reporting back to Father Christmas, Santa Claus, and all of this. So every single night, as a parent, you have to move this thing, do things with it, and the kids love it, right? The kids are always like, "Oh, where's ours is called Pip," but it is the biggest pain in the butt ever, right? It causes anxiety because your parents will go, "Oh, have I moved it? Oh my God, the kids are awake." If they don't see it's moved, and like it's constant. And actually, it's the only time of the year that my wife and I may disagree or even have a bit of an argument. So, and the reason why I'm chuckling is because on Saturday I was crawling into bed. It was a bit late. I'd been watching something. We'd been out to the pantomime, and it was a really long day. But I'd like sat up and watched something with my son, and it was like after midnight, and I'm crawling into bed, and my wife goes, "Oh, do you know where the elf is?" Like, no, I thought you knew where it was. And then for the next hour and a half, we're pulling everything out, pulling like, and I'm so tired. I'm like anyway, for this elf on a shelf.
So the elf has to move every day because
Yeah,
Santa's come and moved it.
every night. But it doesn't just move, it does naughty things. And now they've created an economy around it. I mean, it's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. From a business perspective, it's brilliant because they've got all of these accessories. It's like, Barbie this, it's like, and it comes on the first day and it goes, and you've got big balloons and people have big grand unveils of this. It's like, yeah, I'm back. And then he gets really into mischief and he does a variety of things. Check it out. Check
But
out
did you say
Elf.
like they've got Barbie as well?
They
I
haven't got
thought
Barbie.
you said they got Barbie.
No, I was comparing, like it's got accessories
All
like
right, okay. I was just trying to
Barbie.
compare. I was just trying to figure out where the Barbie comes in to the elf, and
Well, maybe it does.
whether it was like
Maybe
Barbie with
they run off together at some
just wonder if
point.
it was like Barbie with a big beard, Barbie, or because it's
Yeah.
all modernized these days, isn't
Look at a Barbie guy. You can be whatever you want. Is
it?
what it is the thing. Hey Barbie. Anyway, so yeah, Christmas is curious. Primarily because I will sit and whinge on like Victor Meldrew about Christmas and the fact that they don't sing carols anymore. There isn't this joviality. There isn't these Christmas cards with Jesus on the front of it and things like that. Anyway, business, show business, the headlines: Armed Forces Covenant. Jeff, you've signed it. It's a brilliant thing. It's a national pledge to ensure fair treatment and support for our armed forces members, veterans and their families. Businesses commit to providing employment opportunities, commercial support, and other initiatives. It's great, and we are on a mission to promote it. And one of the things I'm incredibly proud about is us being a gold member, being a gold employer recognition scheme member. Um, the other thing that I'm mentioning that took place last week was the We Are Power Exchange, where lots of change makers and innovators and leaders came together. It's all about women and women supporting women and things like that. So it's wonderful, um, is what it is. And it features as part of our inclusion by default campaign as well. Uh, it's and I've done a podcast there. And it's the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Actually, we should be like celebrating everyone all of the time. It's just crazy, isn't it? That there's an international day for everything and everyone.
I mean, where does it stop? You know?
It doesn't. It
Yeah.
doesn't stop. Um, and then there was a show business topic of the week. It was the Movember AB Curry Club. Why didn't you grow a mustache, Jeff? I'd love to see you with a mustache.
Yeah, I don't know if I would suit it, but I used to have a goatee, in whilst I was a student, 18 to however many years, and it was really strange when he took that off. But yeah, I think it's a great initiative, the Movember thing. But I'm not a one to grow mustaches, though. I think
You're not.
nah.
Yeah, but I don't think I've got this really funny one of me, like years ago. And I look at it because it pops up like because it's November or whatever it is, or Movember, or things like that. Um, um, but yeah, there was the Curry Club, and apparently it was brilliant. I wasn't there, and we've also got uh, Ash joining us this morning, Jaff, as our special guest, is what
Brilliant.
he is. Um, and Ash Aggarwal was the Lifetime Achievement Award winner. It's funny, isn't it? We connected with Ash years ago when we first
Yeah.
said,
Do you know what I met Ash? Do you know where I met Ash? We were at a dinner. We were invited by the Conservative Party chairman. I can't remember his name. Lives in a big house in Gosforth, and it was a Saida Varsi was there on that evening, and Ash was around the table with a few other prominent business people. So yeah, I met Ash there. It was a good few years ago, and he's very big in the community of the pharmaceutical kind of market, isn't he? And as he was telling his story, he kind of sold at the right time. He'll be laughing, won't he? Because when you speak to a lot of business people these days, Amar, I was speaking to a couple of local, very successful businessmen, and they are absolutely livid with all the changes that's happening that have been signaled in the budget to all come into play in April and stuff with the rise in taxes. They're absolutely livid, and the squeeze on businesses is horrific.
they all come into foreplay. Is that what you just said?
Well, in April, obviously
Yeah,
all comes into fruition. All of these
okay.
um, all of these new kind of, well, the minimum wage and the national insurances and A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, and let's just have a quick review of that because we haven't really had the chance of understanding the impact of the on businesses. So the lower rate of capital gains tax (CGT) increased from 10% to 18%. John,
Just, it's just outrageous, man.
is that not really like nearly double?
Yeah. Why on earth?
Um,
How on earth can the government, not just this government, every single government, keep on justifying putting up taxes left, right, and center? What's their justification? What, you just keep on taking? Is there not a level where it stops and that's it? There's no more taxes increases. The levels have been set, but those levels should be set, go back to 20, 30 years ago. Why is it just every year to find ways of just taking more, 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 more? It just doesn't make any sense. They're doing something grocery wrong if that's what they have to do.
Yeah, and then employer national insurance increased by 1.2% from 13.8 to 15%. So 15%. The analysis. So Tesco's, Jaff, Tesco's over the term of the Parliament are paying £1 billion more.
Mm.
Now, what do you think that's going to do to the average shopping basket?
Of course, I think, but I'm
This
on.
is the short-sightedness I feel that exists.
I don't.
Is
I don't think. Mm.
you don't think what?
I don't think it is short-sightedness. I think it's
Did it?
meticulously planned. Because you can't tell me that the ministers were the most intelligent people in the country, because that's why they're the ministers. They've got their departments that are telling them all the outcomes of all of these decisions. So these decisions are planned. I think for me, it's all about, for whatever reason, they want to really destabilize. That's what I feel. They want to destabilize businesses because all they're doing is stifling them. And why do they want to do it? I have no idea. But what else could it be?
Well, I mean, it is short-sightedness, isn't it? Because if you increase taxes, so you've increased tax, right? So, and actually the higher rate goes from 20 to 24%. So you're paying a quarter, right, on capital gains tax. You're paying 20% on VAT. You're paying 15% of your wages on national insurance. You've then got employers' contributions. You've then got an increased national minimum wage.
Then you've got the nest, the employer's contribution on the nest.
Yeah. And where and what does that leave? Any business?
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Yeah,
paying like 70-80% in taxes.
yeah. And then the thing is, and I've spoke to some other, like, without naming names, really well-known restaurant groups over the last
Like
couple of
who?
days.
Without
I'm
naming
not
names,
gonna.
like
I'll
who?
tell you.
I'm joking.
I'll tell you off
Anyway,
air. But and they were saying that. Well, do you know where we are? They've come to the point where they've said that this is the situation. It's all a matter of, in line of everything going up, we have no choice but to put our prices up ridiculously, and it's a matter of where can we put that up to before we all just fall over a cliff, because at some point the public's going to say there's no way I'm going to pay £3.65 for a Mars bar. I'm just not going to have that Mars bar. It's going to come to that kind of a point. And in relatively, I'm speaking, if you go to restaurants and all of a sudden the per head spend goes up from 35 to 75 as an average, how many people can afford to do that? And what's going to happen? So I think next year, it, it's going to be, I mean, we do say this every year as well, though, but next year, just to me, it feels as though that I do genuinely feel that we're getting stifled so much that is it worth all that pain, effort, and energy that you have to go through to have a business, to have nothing left at the end of it? Then there's like zero benefits of being in business. And that's kind of pretty worrying. And it's when it's not just yourself and the business community are all coming up and saying the same things, then you know that on this occasion, this is something quite serious and severe, the changes that's ahead.
it's anyway. On more positive news, I don't have any. But it's just crazy what's going on. It was really interesting internationally, Jack, to see see, well, the challenges, the manipulation, the impact of global activities um, in the Middle East, still in South Korea. That was a bit crazy and unexpected. What's the impact on all of these things? Well, it affects supply chains. It affects, the cost of products and how easy it is to bring in um, and the delays associated. If you remember the challenge in the Suez Canal, where 80% of the world's shipping comes through, and all of the impact that that had and has. It's crazy, crazy is what it is. Anyway, locally, the football, Jeff.
While the football in the city centre is very much on the up for sure. You can see a lot of life. It's very, very lively at the moment. The Christmas markets um, always have an impact. Phoenix has an impact with the Phoenix windows, and just generally people out Christmas parties, people out shopping a bit more. So there's a nice buzz in town at the moment. Parking is absolutely atrocious. I mean, the city council make it as difficult as possible for people to come into the city centre. Why on earth they have that policy is beyond me. They also send their parking ticket people out in force with
Oh, it's
all
just, I mean, how much money do you think?
oh, they're making millions. Yeah, it's absolutely
Millions,
horrendous. Kind
millions.
of, if you think about it, your city council is supposed to represent the people, and all they want to do is take as much off the people as possible. They are enforced. They're all videoed up to the hilt, and now they're actually getting big, strong guys as well who can actually talk back and get a bit aggressive themselves. I've seen that on a few occasions, being really aggressive with the motorists. If you just parked in a double yellow line, just waiting for someone to come and um, you pick somebody up, and then they come and they just give you a ticket whilst you're there instead of telling you to move these days. So it's a really bad environment, I feel, that the councils are creating for businesses and the public visiting the city centre, which is the complete opposite to what they should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, you need to consider there's always two sides to every story, and we need to always follow our independent views, and and yeah, it's crazy, but that buzz, that vibrancy, it's incredibly busy.
Mm.
There's a lot going on in Newcastle. There's things going on in Middlesbrough, in Sunderland, and in Durham. So, in all of the cities across our region, there's some great things. There's more people piling in. Coming back to the football itself, Jaff, 3-3.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great occasion, great night of football, but I mean, we should be winning that game. Liverpool were fantastic at moments. Overall, we played the better football. What was absolutely horrendous at the end when the referee blew the whistle when we were attacking the opposition, um, and we had just scored a goal in the 90th minute. So that goal celebration wasn't even taken into consideration. He blew literally on the fifth minute, which just didn't make any sense. It was 4 against 2. We could have gone up the other end and scored a goal, and you should give us an extra 5 seconds, 10 seconds, to see the end of that attack, and he didn't do it.
So, do you think he was a Liverpool supporter?
I think he was the scouser for sure, the referee. That's what we were saying, weren't we?
Yeah. Anyway, it's a real shame. I was at my daughter's um, carol play yesterday, and they were all there, um, which was funny. All of the dads were there. So Eddie, Nick, Dan, they were all there, and it's nice. It's nice to see them, in that normal type of setting, coming out, getting involved.
Yeah.
with their kids, and the kids are all characters. But it's funny because overhearing certain conversations about, oh, if we're here, someone saying, well, if I'm here for another whatever, I don't know, whatever type of thing. It's just really interesting, really interesting. It's is what it is, but it's good. It's there's they need to maintain that, and that is happening. So, any highlights? What people should be aware of for Christmas, Jaff?
I think no. I think when you are coming into I mean, look, if everyone in Christmas time, I guess you have to have that visit into the city centre because it's the hub of the city, and there's so much going on. So you have to experience the market, experience the city, but give yourself enough time to get yourself into the city centre, and there's plenty of things to do. Maybe prolong your stay as well. Come and do your shopping, um, and have your drinks and have your meals, and enjoy the experience because it does go very, very quickly as well.
Oh, it does, it does, and you know, despite, and there's always two sides to every story. So yesterday it was incredibly tight for me to get into town. I managed to park next to the stack. The challenge with the parking, which actually is slightly manipulative, is the fact that they've reduced it everywhere for an hour,
Mm,
right? So all of the on-street parking in the city centre is now only for an hour.
mm.
Now, if that's not a devoted, dedicated strategy on how to make money, then I don't know what else is. So I caveat that. But I managed to get parked. I went and met with a wonderful person, Lisa Oppie. I'm sure she doesn't mind me mentioning. She's the new David Goldman visiting professor at Newcastle University. She's also the MD of Ubisoft, Jaff. So Ubisoft are Reflections. They are one of the biggest game producers. Assassin's Creed is
Mm.
what they create. Anyway, I managed to have some food, and then I had to get out of the city centre. And lucky for me, I managed to not get a ticket, Jaff.
Mm, mm. Well, good on you.
Managed to get in and out.
You
But
you
there
very
are parking spaces, not as many as we need. Hopefully that'll get fixed. Um, and and do go, as Jeff suggests, make a day of it, have some food. We went out, 35 of us, to the botanist, as we do every year, and then to the pantomime.
How
Must
was that,
admit,
Mark? How was
well,
the
the
box?
pantomime didn't wasn't as funny this year, or didn't feel as good as it was previous years. It was, a bit cruder and ruder as well. I mean, it's always funny from an adult and a kid. Kids love it. It's rude, it's crude, it's fun. But yeah, it didn't feel as good. And then we'll go on New Year's Day. We'll go. So that's the Theatre Royal. We'll go to the other. We'll go to the Time Theatre on New Year's Day. That's always an annual thing for us, and we enjoy it. Is what we do. Um, if we're here, because actually I wouldn't mind trying to get away, John,
Mm,
if we could. Lots of people do, but the cost of getting away is just crazy,
mm.
isn't it? Um, so yeah, we made a day of it. There's a real vibrancy. The whole Winter Village monument, the fairs on at the Green, and various different things going on. Coming back to the SME Centre of Excellence in ABC, so we did have a curry club. There is a series of curry clubs taking place next year. There's the inclusion by default campaign that continues, and there's lots of support, lots of collaboration around that, and and then the SME Centre of Excellence has been delivering a series of programs. Kevin, Phil, Stephen, all of the team here are supporting hundreds of entrepreneurs in Northumberland, in Durham, making a real difference, making a real impact, and helping people start, survive, and thrive. And then in January, we launched our International Trade Centre at Newcastle Airport, Jalf. So 10,000 square foot dedicated space with representation from various governments, whether that's Saudi, Kuwait, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we're talking to. They're not looking as outward as they previously probably were. There's been significant changes. Jeff, how aware are you of the changes in Bangladesh?
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I think it was just another color revolution, and the masters that wanted to change government, they've gone and done what they wanted to do, and the chap that's in there, the Nobel Prize winner, very close to the Americans, and he won a Nobel Peace Prize by empowering farmers to buy their own plot of land by giving them micro loans, by putting every single one of them in debt and unable to pay their debt and have that extra burden over their shoulders, and then lose the land to the banks and then end up being nowhere, and they get a Nobel Peace Prize for it. So that's who's the prime minister or the in charge of the country at this moment in time. And I'm not saying that the previous prime minister, who was a lady who's been there for many years, was the what brilliant or whatever. But I think the people should decide in a proper way, not by just ousting the person in charge, and then everyone seems to be, if it's the correct person that the West is happy with, then it's all good, because it was a coup effectively, and that if that person wasn't friends with the West, then it wouldn't be politically accepted. So it's all kind of the double standards in politics. For me, I just think it's very, very wrong. So
anyway, it's politics. We'll talk about football. We'll have a conversation about religion. Our extra special guest is here, so let me just very briefly do some introduction. I mean, this gentleman requires no introduction. He's an amazing guy, done some wonderful things, both, as you say, for the community as well as business. And we're delighted to feature Ash Aggarwal, a true icon in healthcare and community service. Ash has dedicated over 4 decades to the NHS and the wider community, earning recognition for his impactful leadership and unwavering devotion to excellence, is what he has. Ash, let's get Ash on here and invite him in. Where's Ash gone? Let's see. Here he is. He's joining us now. He's a founder and leader of Ashchem Chemists, a network of 15 pharmacies across the Northeast. Ash has been instrumental in delivering critical healthcare services to patients and professionals alike. His approach to leadership emphasizes integrity, teamwork, and a supportive environment, which has been central to the success and reputation of Ashchem Chemists. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Ash is celebrated for his humility and dedication to serving others, known for his kindness and respect for everyone he works with, and he embodies values that inspire colleagues and future leaders. His contributions have not only enhanced healthcare delivery, but also left a lasting legacy in the community. And Ash's recent nomination for the Lifetime Achievement Award is a testament to his remarkable journey and the high regard in which he is held. The award honours his professional achievements and his embodiment of leadership, service, and humility. This recognition highlights the profound impact one individual can have on both an industry and a community. We're thrilled to have Ash as our guest, sharing insights from his extraordinary career and the values that have guided his success. Ash, good morning. Ash, are you there? We can't see you or hear you. I've just said all of that.
Oh, after that introduction, there he is.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Ash hasn't, turn your camera on, turn your microphone off.
So can you see me?
Good. We can see you.
Yeah.
We can sort of hear you, but it's wonderful. Thank you for coming on.
Ammar's just been telling our listeners for the last 10 minutes the biggest, well thought out introduction I've ever heard. I'm thinking, where is Ash? Has he heard all of that? I hope he did.
Yeah, I heard last couple of minutes. So thank you very much for those nice comments, Ammar, and I really appreciate it. And obviously,
pleasure. So wonderful to have you on the show, Ash. I know I've done a big build up and such like, but let's kick off with who you are, what you do, and why you do it. It's always helpful to hear it from you yourself.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on the station for chat. And I want to thank you once again for the award which I received recently at ABC. Wonderful organization. I'm really proud of you as well. Obviously, I've known you since last 10, 12 years when, as you said, at the awards with the ABF. And the progress you made from there to what we could have done. And I think it's a testament to this particular thing. The awards are excellent. Gives lots of young people opportunity to come and attend, and it makes them work harder. I think when there's an award or some achievement to be recognized, it gives them the extra impetus to actually go out and try harder and be involved in the community and things like that. So I think excellent. All credit to you. As far as
thank you. That's very kind. I mean, although you didn't quite answer the question. Who are you? What are you doing? Why do you do it?
With mine, just to give you a little bit of background, obviously, I started in 1991 with single pharmacy, and then by 2010, I had built a chain in the Northeast, which was the biggest independent chain in the north of England, other than obviously Boots and the Lloyds and one. We did by natural progression, and I think it was using the skills which I had as a pharmacist and as a businessman to progress the matter, kind of thing. And it wasn't easy. We needed a lot of excellent support from the accountants, the solicitors, and likewise to make it work. And I think the main thing was for me is I started with nothing. And if I can give you a little story. In 1991, I went to buy my first pharmacy, and I had £2,500, and the pharmacy was £10,000 with a stock of £7,500. And the bank wouldn't let me £2,500 because they said, "Oh no, we need more money." But the guy who was selling actually lent me that money, and I started from there, and we built it up. And it was all hard work. It wasn't initially we didn't have any holidays like most Asians do. They work very hard to progress the business, and then slowly we built it up. And and I was then, once I settled down, I was involved in a lot of pharmaceutical committees, and part of the achievement was recognized when I was invited by the Queen in 1997 to the garden party, which was in recognition of service to the profession.
Brilliant.
So that was obviously an excellent thing, and we met actually the late Princess Di there as well, and Prince Charles, and because my wife was wearing a sari, I think she got pulled to the front to meet the actual royalty. So I think it was a very special occasion, and it was something which I cherished on. And from now we grew business, and we became. I started doing a lot of joining a lot of pharmaceutical committees, and I was also the non-executive director of South Tyneside Health Authority, which served me not just as a pharmacy-based thing, but general health aspects of it, and looking after the people of South Tyneside, which was again I was on the committee I think about 5-6 years, which was truly a learning experience, looking at all aspects of healthcare and people's needs in community as such. After that, I really concentrated on the pharmacy business again, and we built up. And like I said, in 2017, I got a venture capitalist company and came and knocked on the door and basically offered me a blank check, which was, and we decided to sell the pharmacies to them, and it was, and I was really glad, because I think I was 60 when I retired, and that was 7-8 years ago, and I think I felt happy because I'd done everything, and the venture capitalist company wanted a family company because it was based all in Northeast. All our pharmacies were in geographical area of about 10 miles radius, and we had 135 staff, and everything was right for the company, and it was run very well. So they went, and I retired, and I haven't looked back since.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, well done, and thank you for that story and sharing that. It's really inspirational. And it's the points that you make around Asians being incredibly hardworking, persevering, just sort of doing whatever needs to happen to get wherever we need to get to is a great point. But tell me, Ash, what got you? The bit that you missed out was, how did you become a pharmacist? Were you a pharmacist?
Well, I used to live in Manchester when I first came to England from East Africa, and obviously I did all my schooling there. And come 1973, obviously we had to choose the career path, and I selected pharmacy, and I got offers from 4 or 5 different universities, and I got an offer from School of Pharmacy in Sunderland, and because Sunderland had won the FA Cup in 1973, I chose that particular pharmacy school.
Oh,
so I came there in 1974, and obviously from 1974 till 77, I did my B Pharm degree, and then you have to compulsory do 1 year training, which I did with Boots. And I worked for Boots for 2 or 3 years, and I spent 9 months in London, and I hated every part of it, kind of thing. So I came back when this pharmacy came for sale in 1991, and really started from there, kind of thing. And like I said before, being your own boss is very, very satisfying. It's hard at first, but obviously, if you work hard and work at it, and you get the rewards at the end of it, rather than having to continue to work for obviously companies like Boots or Lloyd's, or so that was my ambition. And I think I was always driven by a friend of mine in London, who we qualified at the same time, and he bought a pharmacy and he expanded to 2. So he was a driving force for me. It was like a competition kind of thing, which drove us together. And we grew, but we didn't grow aggressively, because I didn't want to make the mistake of growing too fast and falling into difficulties. So our plan was always to take the process one at a time, kind of thing. Look for the right pharmacies to buy, and put effort into them to build it up, and then progress to the next level. And I think that was the main thing. And even now, I see, obviously, even at the awards, I saw many young pharmacists there. And I've known them for a number of years, and I've done some talks for the organizations where they invited me to do a talk to this young and upcoming pharmacists, not just about pharmacy, but about business as well. Right. How to buy and sell a pharmacy, how to do this. So I've done several talks to that, and it's very, very happy feeling when these young pharmacists come to and they see me as a I wouldn't, bragging myself, but like a godfather of pharmacy in Northeast. So and I'm happy to help them. Every time I give them my number, I say, look, anytime you need any help with anything, just give me a shout. And and several I've guided through to them purchasing their first pharmacy and progressing from there.
Fantastic.
Ash, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Did you have because your exit strategy, or did you have an exit strategy? Because your exit is a dream really for a lot of people in business, for the venture capitalists to come and pay for your business that you've built up for all those years. And that is the dream. So was that a plan, or did that just come out of the blue somewhere?
Well, it all started in 2010, without giving too much away kind of thing. I did get approached by Coop Pharmacy, and they wanted to buy me at that time. And we went through the process, and 2 weeks before the deal was going to go through, it fell through because the government had changed the goalposts and how pharmacies were paid. So they backed out. And at that time, I was glad the deal dropped through because I wasn't quite ready to sell. But this time, we weren't really planning on it. But in 2016, I was going for trying to buy a big group in the Northeast, another one, a Norcam pharmacy, which had I think 22 pharmacies, and they had a wholesale business as well in Durham. And we lost out on that deal. And I think if that had gone through, I would have expanded even more. But when that fell through, I thought it was time to pack up. But I didn't. I started planning because obviously I spoke to my accountants and things, saying you need a natural progression. And to sell a pharmacy or to sell any business, you've got to plan 2-3 years in advance because of obviously the way tax works and things like that. You can't do it the last minute. So once we had approach from this particular venture capitalist, before we entered into any firm decision with them, I made sure all my legal work was, all the leases, all the property, everything was ship-shape. So they didn't come back and say, because they agree a price, then they start chopping away if they haven't got anything in place. So we made sure with the solicitors and the accountants that everything was in perfect shape. So they had a clean company, they had everything, I's dotted and T's crossed kind of thing, just to make sure. And our deal actually was the fastest in the Northeast. It went through, I think it was 10 weeks for a size of that company, that deal.
Fantastic. And so since then, that's sort of
since then, obviously I've got 3 grandchildren, and I moved to Ponteland where one of my daughters live with the 2 children. So enjoying life. I still do a lot of. I have obviously, again, being Asian, you're always into property. So I have quite a large portfolio of commercial properties where keeps me busy. I look after them and passes my time. My passion is golf, so I play a lot of golf. And again, I still do an odd, I wouldn't say lecture, but like a presentation when the corporate enterprises ask me about my experiences in business and how young up-and-coming pharmacists can progress and what they need to do. So I still do a little bit of that, and obviously motto is to enjoy life, because I worked hard all my life, and unless you so we plan a lot of holidays, and recently we just come back from Japan, 3-week holiday kind of thing. So that's my goal at the moment, enjoy my grandchildren, my life, and my golf.
Brilliant. Well done and well deserved. Ash, it's fantastic to see. I mean, actually, I know time passes very quickly, it was actually 16, 17 years ago when we sat round at the table and talked about, and just for the benefit of our listeners and our viewers, so there was a great, well-established organization that existed representing the Asian business professionals, is what it was primarily, when Jalf and I set up. And Ash had kindly facilitated that community cohesion. Let's have a conversation. Let's see how we collaborate. Let's see how we connect and work together. And I'll never forget that. It was at a point in time from our experience, Ash, when lots of people sort of question or query, or why are you doing this, and what's your motives, and yes, and even an element of competition, which is always healthy, because it drives value for the end individuals. So I'm always grateful. Both Jalf and I are grateful for your facilitation around that. And yeah, it's good. I mean, equally, it's because of people like your good self who have gone out and made a difference for the community that ABC has continued to grow and now thrive. We've been taking trade missions to India. We've done several of those, developing the relationships there, Turkey, Middle East. So we're all about internationalizing. Cosmopolitanism is what we are. But we're ever so grateful for people who have made an impact, who have built businesses and employed lots of people as well.
No, I think certainly, like you said, going back 16, 17 years ago, when obviously we had the ABF and the ABC, both organizations just starting off, really. And I think our remit was probably a little bit different to what each other. Yeah. So I think I saw that opportunity. I think I think it was ABS fault when not reaching out and saying, look, let's take that forward. I think if we had done it, you never know, because obviously different organization brought different skills. We had different sort of membership compared to what, and I still remember me organizing a meeting with one of the legal firms, and we did a presentation on tax or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't believe it, the clientele in that particular room was, I looked around and you probably could be probably £1 billion worth of people there. So we had the cloud to get the right people in. But I think the way we lacked and where I wanted to progress was we wanted to bring them in, not just for a free meal and a presentation, and not put anything back into society or back in for all these sponsors who actually did that. So that's where I think the different different views on the board kind of made it very difficult for ABF to progress.
Sorry, bear with me 1 second. Just bear with me, because we can do this. And let me, because our radio show officially has come to an end, but our conversation hasn't. But let me just put Spice FM into the waiting room, and they've gone. I mean, look, Ash, the conversation here was, I mean, there's been so many organizations. We've been incredibly fortunate. Even the National Asian Association disbanded and things like that. But you're right, there was a big difference. We set up as a social enterprise, a not-for-profit, formally constituted. And actually, I'm really interested in, because the whole community's now come together. Everyone, it almost feels, and Ash, you would have experienced this. Originally, my late father, Jalf's late father, everyone was just one. Everyone was just part of the same community. It didn't matter, because everyone was just brown, right? To put it bluntly. Yeah. And it was more our culture that we celebrated, and the religion didn't divide us at that time. And then everyone grew, and then the community separated, and the generations changed. But now I feel as if we're all coming together. So, I'd love to pick up that conversation. If you've got if you do 9 rounds rather than 18, and maybe get involved a little bit in. I know that's a big ask, but we're desperate for inspiring individuals to inspire younger generations across all communities, not just Asian communities. And I'd love you to get a bit more involved. And certainly as our lifetime achievement award winner, rightly so. I know you can add a lot more value to just even sharing your stories, giving some advice. Here's what to do, but equally here's what not to do. So, let's pick that conversation up with your permission.
Yeah, certainly. I'm more than happy to be part of it. Like I said, I'm all there to helping, any individual, any organization when they are up and coming, because I know I've been through it, how difficult it is. So any input from me or anybody else kind of thing really helps them. And all they need is a little bit of advice to make the next step.
Yeah.
And obviously, once they learn and they can progress and make themselves into another Ash or another Ammar or whoever they want to be.
No, I'm just sit here and talk is what I do is primarily. But anyway, wonderful. Thank you ever so much, Ash. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Wonderful story. Always, grateful for your support, your encouragement, and your community cohesion. And congratulations. And we'll catch up in person. We'll do a dedicated. There is an award winners event taking place in January, so we'll get you up, and you can share some of the stories there and inspire a lot more people. But until next week, it's goodbye from me.
Bye from me. Good to see you.
Thanks, Ash.
See you. Bye bye. Thanks very much.